She became my stepmother after marrying my father. But from the very first day, she hated me. Her smile was fake and her words were sharp. I did not understand why she disliked me so much. Was it jealousy? Was it a secret from her past? In this story, you will hear every moment of my life with her. And while you follow this emotional journey, you will also learn English through simple words and easy sentences. Friends, before we start this story, don't forget to like this video and subscribe to Glorious English. It helps us bring you more emotional stories and easy English learning. My name is Anna. I was only 18 when my father, Michael, told me he wanted to marry again. My mother had died years ago, and I always wished he would not be lonely anymore. When he introduced me to Vanessa, I smiled politely. She hugged me, but her hug felt cold. That night at dinner, she laughed with my father, but hardly spoke to me. I dropped a spoon by mistake, and she gave me a sharp look. My heart whispered something was not right. The first time Vanessa visited our house, she looked around every corner as if she was inspecting it. She asked me, "Do you clean your room daily?" I nodded, but she sighed. My father tried to make it light, saying, "She is just curious." I went to my room and cried a little. Later that evening, she moved a flower vase from my table and said, "This place looks messy." It was a small thing, but it felt like she wanted to control everything. Vanessa often brought expensive gifts for my father. She gave him a golden watch and a new phone. For me, she brought a cheap plastic bracelet. I still said thank you, but I knew she did not mean it with love. That night, I placed the bracelet in a drawer and wrote in my diary, "She does not like me." Later, I heard her whisper to my father, "Anna needs to grow up faster." My hands shook as I held the pen. One evening, Vanessa asked me to make tea for my father. I followed the recipe carefully, remembering how Mom used to make it. When I gave it to her, she sipped and said, "Too sweet, you don't even know simple things." I felt embarrassed. At dinner that night, she said loudly, "Anna doesn't help in the house." I wanted to defend myself, but my father just looked tired. I washed the dishes quietly, and Vanessa stood watching me, smiling like she had won. At dinner another night, Vanessa cooked chicken. I tried to help, but she said, "Stay out of the kitchen, you will spoil it." When my father came home, she served the food and said, "I had to do everything alone. Anna never supports me." My father looked confused but said nothing. I swallowed my tears and ate silently. After dinner, I went to my room and found that my school bag had been moved. She had gone through my things without asking. If you are still watching, it means this story is touching your heart. Please share this video with your friends so they can also enjoy the story and learn English with us. One morning, I came back from college and found my room changed. Vanessa had thrown away my old photo albums and placed new curtains without asking me. "Why did you do this?" I asked. She said calmly, "These things are childish. You must learn to live like an adult." Those photos were memories of my mother, and I felt broken inside. That night, I told my father. He said, "Maybe she wants to make the house better." My heart sank deeper. Vanessa started telling my father what clothes I should wear. She said, "Anna dresses like a child. She needs better clothes." My father bought me a new dress, but Vanessa criticized it, saying, "This color doesn't suit you." At breakfast one day, she told my father I spent too much time on my phone, but in reality, I had been studying. Slowly, I felt like every part of my life was being controlled by her words, and I could not breathe freely. One Saturday, Vanessa said we should bake cookies together. I thought maybe this would bring us closer. We mixed flour and sugar, but when I tried shaping the cookies, she laughed. "You don't even know how to bake, let me do it." When the cookies came out of the oven, she told my father, "Anna just watched. She is useless in the kitchen." My father chuckled weakly. I smiled to hide my tears, but later that night, I threw away the burnt cookie I had made. Sometimes at night, I heard Vanessa whispering to my father in the living room. She said things like, "Anna doesn't respect you," or "She is lazy." Once, when I passed by, I heard her say, "We must make her more disciplined." My father nodded weakly. I hid behind the wall, listening with tears rolling down my cheeks. The next morning, Vanessa told me, "Your father agrees you should listen to me more." My heart felt like it was being crushed. On my birthday, I was excited. My friends came over with gifts, but Vanessa took control of everything. She decorated the cake, chose the music, and even arranged the chairs. She gave me a gift, a plastic keychain, and said loudly, "I hope you like it." Everyone clapped, but I felt humiliated. Later, she whispered in my ear, "Don't expect special treatment here." When my friends left, I went to bed early, holding back tears. Even my birthday had become her stage. One evening, I was doing homework at the dining table. Vanessa came and placed her glass of juice on my notebook. "Move, I need space," she said. I shifted, but the juice spilled on my paper. She smirked and said, "You should be careful." I stayed quiet, rewriting everything later. That night, when my father asked how my studies were, Vanessa interrupted, "She wastes too much time." I wanted to scream the truth, but my father's tired face made me stay silent again. Vanessa also tried to stop me from meeting friends. Once my best friend Emily called, asking me to join her at the park. I packed my bag, but Vanessa told my father, "Anna spends too much time outside. She doesn't care about family." My father told me to stay home. I sat in my room, crying quietly, while Vanessa smiled and watched TV with him. Later, when Emily sent me a picture from the park, I hid my phone under my pillow and cried again. Vanessa's anger showed in small ways. One morning I was late for school, and I left my shoes near the sofa. When I came back, the shoes were gone. She said, "I put them in the trash because you don't respect this house." I searched outside until I found them dirty in a corner. Another time, she hid my math notebook and told my father, "Anna forgets her things." I knew she wanted to break me slowly, piece by piece, while smiling sweetly in front of him. My father tried to keep peace, but I could see he was tired. Once during dinner, Vanessa complained that I didn't wash the plates well. My father sighed and said, "It's fine, I will wash them." Vanessa frowned and whispered, "You spoil her." Later, when my father went to bed, she stopped me in the hall. "He is mine now," she said. "Don't try to take his love away." I froze, unable to answer. For the first time, I felt truly unwanted in my own home. One Sunday morning, Vanessa cooked pancakes. She placed a plate in front of my father with syrup and butter. For me, she gave only 2 small burnt ones. When I tried to reach for more, she said, "Don't be greedy." My father noticed, but before he could speak, Vanessa smiled and kissed his cheek. He stayed quiet. Later, when I was washing dishes, she whispered, "You will always be less than me in this house." Her words echoed in my head all day. At school, I tried to hide my sadness, but my teachers noticed. One teacher asked, "Anna, is something wrong at home?" I wanted to speak, but I stayed silent. That evening, when I returned home, Vanessa checked my bag and found a letter from my teacher. She read it aloud and laughed. "Even your teachers think you are weak," she said. I grabbed the letter back and ran to my room. I locked the door, hugged my pillow, and cried until I fell asleep. One winter night, we had guests, my father's old friends. Vanessa smiled sweetly and acted like the perfect wife. She kept saying, "Anna doesn't help me much, but I try my best." The guests laughed, thinking it was a joke. I served drinks quietly, feeling invisible. When they left, my father praised her. "You did great tonight." Vanessa looked at me and said coldly, "See, everyone likes me, not you." I held my breath, afraid to cry in front of them both. Vanessa sometimes pretended to be kind. One afternoon she offered me tea and said, "Let's talk." I hoped maybe she was changing, but soon she asked, "Do you think your father loves me more than he loved your mother?" I froze, not knowing what to say. She leaned closer. "I will make sure he forgets her." I put the cup down, my hands shaking. That night, I dreamed of my mother, holding my hand, telling me to be strong. I woke up with tears on my face. The worst day came when Vanessa shouted at me in front of my father. She accused me of lying about school marks. I showed my report card, but she snatched it away. "She must have copied it," she said. My father looked torn, unsure who to believe. I shouted, "Why do you hate me?" For a moment, the room was silent. Vanessa smiled softly and replied, "Because you remind him of someone he loved before me." My heart broke into 1,000 pieces. That night, I went to my room and packed a small bag. I took my diary, a photo of my mother, and some clothes. I sat on the bed thinking of leaving forever. But then I heard my father's voice outside the door. "Anna," he said gently, "please don't give up." I stayed still, tears running down my face. I realized I could not run away yet. I had to stay strong, no matter how much Vanessa hated me, because deep down I still hoped my father would see the truth one day. Thank you for staying till the end. Write in the comments what you learned from this story. And don't forget to like, share, and subscribe to Glorious English for more powerful stories in simple English.